Coach, let's leverage one of the most powerful tools we have in our armory, negative thinking. I bet you weren't expecting that, but it's true. Our mind is programmed for the negative. Our mind is programmed to see the risk in everything. We simply wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So instead of ignoring that, let's leverage it for the good. Let's use it to unlock our full potential and growth. Charlie Munger, one of the most famous investors of all time, says, "All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I won't go there." He was famous for talking about the power of negative thinking, because often our potential growth lies on the opposite side of that. And one exercise that I take myself through very often as a way to make sure that I'm delivering the best possible delivery for my clients is imagining if I lost it all and asking myself what I would do to get back to the outcome that my clients want. So in today's video, I want to walk you through exactly that. What I would do if I lost it all, if I started from scratch and wanted to get back to consistent 20 and 30K months, working just 4 days a week, without hustling my face off, without spending hours in the DMs, sending hundreds of cold emails and messages, without building a slow and cumbersome website or running risky ads, and without, engaging on hours for LinkedIn. Sorry, the mere thought of it gives me the ick. Now, that is the desire for all of my clients. So if that's your desire too, stick around, because I'm going to walk through exactly what I would do. And this comes from a place of authority. I have done this now twice. The first time, coaching, dare I say it, traditionally stubborn and hard to sell to men. And the second time, now my current business with the Elevated Coaching Collective, helping other heart-led coaches get to 10, 20, 30K months. And you can check out my client results playlist on YouTube to see who I've helped. But an example, Laura, who was making around 2 to 3K before working with me, in the last month, she had a 35K month. And she did it on her terms. She's currently in Ibiza. She travels and works with really dreamy, perfect fit clients. So that's what's possible when you stay around and watch this. So where I would start is potentially a little contradictory to where most people would start. So instead of working on my mindset and journaling for hours and writing affirmations, I would work on my systems. James, what's his name? Clear, says we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. I see far too many coaches overthinking life and business. They spend far too much time healing and journaling and sitting with things. Now, yes, there's a time and place for that. It's not either or. But what I would do, and what I have done, is I start with action. I start with systems, and then I reflect afterwards. Because I see systems far more powerful than mindset. Of course, we need a positive mindset. We need that growth mindset. But I'll give you an example. For the last 7 or 8 years, I've woken up at 5 a.m. about 90% of the time. And had I relied on my mindset, on motivation, on inspiration, on willpower, I wouldn't be half as consistent as that. Instead, I rely on my systems. And my system is simple. I use an app called Alarmy, which requires me to solve 5 maths equations to switch it off. So by the time I've done that every morning, I'm wide awake. And I often leave a little note for myself reminding me why I want to wake up at that time. Because I love sleep. I get 7.5 hours sleep most nights, but I could sleep 8, 9. But my preference is to work on myself, work on my business before my family wake up. My systems allow me to do that. Now, one of the first systems that I would build if I started from scratch is what I call my trademark week. And that would allow me to honor the short-term need for clients and cash now, but also the long-term want and desire for growth and to break free from the feast to famine cycle. I see a lot of coaches, especially at the start, in this sort of short-term panic energy and that needy energy. And needy energy is the most repellent energy there is. So instead, we want to balance both the short-term needs for clients and cash and the long-term desire for growth. And the way I've done that in the past and would do it again, if I started from scratch, is for 3 days a week, I would focus on the short-term needs. This is what I call my chop wood and carry water. And for growing an online coaching business, it's really simple. There are 3 things that I would focus on in these 3 days. The first is creating, and that's creating content and really opportunities and reasons for conversations, which brings me to the second step, which is connecting and inviting. Connecting with my audience and inviting them for enrollment calls, which takes me to the third, which is coaching, both new clients or existing clients and potential clients. And the only number I would track in these 3 days is the amount of proposals I'm making each week. If you start tracking that number every single week, your business will grow. It's so simple, because how your business is doing now is a reflection of what you were doing the last 30, 60 days. A lot of coaches are stuck in this feast to famine cycle because they're tracking cash collected. So when cash is high, they take their foot off the gas and their business slows, and then they're back in the trough, and then they're back, reaching out and hustling again. Instead, I invite you to really start tracking proposals, and exactly what I would do. And then on Monday and Friday, this is where I would focus on the long term. And I would focus on long-term projects. Another way to think about this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the chop wood, carry water is really outbound. It's about going hunting, whereas Monday and Friday is about inbound, building the inbound content ecosystem. Now, outbound, the benefit of outbound is that you can get clients and you can move your business really fast. However, it has a limit, has a roof to what you can achieve. Whereas inbound has the benefit of really there being no roof. You can experience exponential growth with inbound. However, it does take more time to get started. What I like to think about though is leveraging both inbound and outbound. And how I do that, especially in the earlier days, is I use my content as a way to start conversations. I use my content as what I call sort of shake the tree strategy, to get my ideal clients to raise their hands and say, hey, I'm interested in this piece of content. And then utilizing that as a way to start conversations, make invites, and coach and enroll. So once I've built out my trademark week, chopping wood and carrying water, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I would get really clear about what I would do on my Monday and Friday. And this is exactly what I would do on Monday and Friday. Now, the first thing is to quit the niche drama. I see a lot of coaches stuck overthinking their niche, spending hours going through trainings and brainstorming and filling in all these different PDFs, and heck, I have been there. But what I like to think of instead of niche is my offer and messaging, because both you and I are infinite beings with infinite potential. So of course we are resistant to being put into a box. Of course we are resistant to a niche, but the way I've reframed it in my mind is that my niche is my offer and the messaging is the context for that offer. Now, what I would do if I started again is I'd get clear on the offer that I was focusing on for the next 12 weeks, and I'd build my messaging around that. That allows me to be agile and move like a speedboat, but also it allows me to build consistency and alignment with my messaging, because 12 weeks focus on one offer would give me that consistency and that alignment and allow me to build trust with my audience, rather than say my offer was change my offer or focus on one offer for 3 weeks, next changing it again and changing it again. That really is confusing to my audience, whereas 12 weeks allows me to build that momentum. Now, as I say, the offer would be the transformation I would focus on for the next 12 weeks. And what we're looking for with the offer is really alignment. We are firstly looking for a starving monkey. Definitely not looking for a starving monkey. We're looking for a starving market that are looking to be fed, that want help and have money to invest and will pay to solve their problems. But also a market that we can help and we enjoy. That is the sweet spot of an aligned offer. And the way I would get there is I would list out 100 potential clients or connectors, and I would start picking up the phone. I know, shock horror, right? I'd pick up the phone, I'd have conversations, and I would really get to know what they are currently trying to solve in their life, rather than asking, hey, do you think this is a good idea? I would really get to what are they actively trying to solve? What books are they reading? What courses have they done? What are they struggling? What keeps them up at night? Because that is what we're looking for, that starving market that we are uniquely positioned to help, and we would enjoy helping. That would become my aligned offer. Now, there's two things that our potential clients think about when considering our offer. The first is the risk of investing, and they compare that to the reward, or the potential reward, the perceived reward. And how I would really position my offer as high reward and high risk is, firstly, I would make sure my offer was high proximity to me. People buy coaches, they buy into you. So sell that. The easiest thing to sell is time with you. So I'd focus on high proximity. I would get really clear on my unique mechanism, which would make my offer unique. There's a great book called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. He talks of our clients, our future clients, don't want an improvement offer, they want a new opportunity. Because our clients, it's far easier for our clients to say, "Hell, this is the new thing that will help us," rather than going, "Well, I just need to do a little bit better what I'm currently doing." So we want to create a unique way of doing things, and we do that by creating a signature method, which I'll get to in a bit. And then the third thing is I'd be really bold with this offer to reduce the risk and increase the reward. The way I've done this the second time I started from scratch is my offer was basically a no-brainer. It was $5,000, but you pay $2,500 up front and $2,500 once you make $10,000. But if you don't do that in, I think it was 2 or 3 months, you don't pay that second amount. It was a no-brainer because implied in that was a guarantee of results, but also a really clear ROI. So that offer killed, and I created literally 4 clients in my first month, or I think it was 3 clients in my first month, 4 clients in my second month. I got to 10K a month really, really quickly because I was bold with that. So that's the first part of the messaging, the offer messaging map. The second part is I'd get really clear on my way. This is my unique mechanism. And this is what would position me apart from everyone else. As I said, our audience don't buy improvement offers, they buy new opportunities. And then the third part of this is I'd get really clear about my core identity client so that my content acts more like a dog whistle versus a megaphone. It cuts through the noise and speaks directly to the core of my ideal clients. How we do that is we get clear on our core truths, our core values, and our core stories. And we use that over and over again in our content. And this beautifully aligns to Aristotle's model of influence, which I learned from a previous mentor, a guy called Dan Bolton. Aristotle says there are three drivers of influence: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is about emotional resonance. It's about emotional connecting. This is about connecting at the level of the heart, the subconscious, the level at which we vibrate. This is how we cut through the noise. We speak directly to our clients. Pathos is about creating a paradigm shift in our clients' world, shifting beliefs and showing our clients and our future clients the way. Think about Buddhism, the Eightfold Path. It's a way of operating. It's a way of moving through the world. So that's all about pathos. And then the final stage is logos, which is about the logistics. It's about giving our clients a clear map and giving them belief that we can take them from where they are now to where they want to get to. So once I built out my offer messaging map, which, side note, we have built a custom built GPT, which will help you do this literally in hours. Now, prior to this GPT, this would likely take you weeks, if not months. Now you can do it in hours, side note. Now, once I built out my offer messaging map, I would run a client campaign. I wouldn't overthink or wait till I'm ready or wait for perfection. I would simply get in action and I would launch. I would put it out there. But I would do it with strategy. Now, the best way of sharing this is talking about a client, Jay, who ran this strategy perfectly. So Jay came to me having just qualified as a Jungian life coach, highly qualified, had gone through massive transformation in himself, but he knew nothing really about business. One of the earlier questions I asked him was, how many clients could you take on each month if you gave them a world-class experience? And he said 2. I was like, great, let's start with that each month rather than the 10 clients he wanted to have in total. So in his first month, he literally ran a client campaign saying, I've got space for 2 clients. And that created supply-demand tension. But it also fueled him with a level of conviction because he was doubtful that he could get to 10 clients. But when I asked him, do you believe you can create 2 clients the next month? He was like, 100% yes. That conviction fueled his clients' belief and trust in them. Sales is a transfer of conviction. So by limiting our supply in an ethical way, that fuels our own conviction, but it also leverages one of the most powerful drivers of influence: supply, demand, tension. And I would couple both content, inbound marketing, where I would really focus on creating content where our clients, our audience say yes to us by sharing core truths, core stories, core values. Yes to my way. This is about shifting people's paradigms and belief system and helping them see the new way of doing things, which is our unique framework for success. Yes to themselves, which is about calling forward and speaking to the core identity of our audience and calling that person forward. And then finally, yes to now, which is about shifting internal beliefs that's keeping them stuck from change and from investing in ourselves. But I would also couple this with warm outreach, and I would bring with or without you energy. The way I like to think about this is imagining having a table for 4 at a world-class Michelin star restaurant, and you get to choose who you invite to this table. Now, I'm pretty confident that if you had that table, you could get you'd have a lot of people queuing up to fill those 3 extra chairs, right? That's the energy that you want to bring to your invites. It's happening with or without you. And when you limit your supply in an ethical way, that naturally happens and you bring that conviction. As I said before, sales is a transfer of conviction. So once I run this client campaign, I would continue to create content in that chop wood, carry water. I would continue working on the longer term projects. But one of the main things I would shift my mind to is, instead of obsessing over acquisition and outbound and hustling, is I would obsess over my clients and getting them results. I would over deliver at every stage. I would do the unscalable things. And the purpose of this is to get raving fans, but to really understand our clients, spot patterns in where our clients get stuck, what helps our clients get results as fast as possible. But what's more is I would also keep expanding my clients' vision and keep solving their problems. This is the best way to retain clients. I've had clients now coming to their 4th year of working with me because I keep expanding their vision and I keep solving their problems. One of the best ways of doing this is just actually keep growing yourself. One of my clients said to me, Joel, I'm just riding your coattails because I'm obsessed with my own personal growth. I'm obsessed with expansion and possibility. And when you stay consistent with that, your clients feel that. So once I got to a stage where I'm really confident in creating consistent one-to-one clients, I'm really confident in the mechanism to get them from point A to point B, I would start looking at a leveraged offer. I wouldn't launch multiple offers. I wouldn't think about any different outcome. I would double down on the outcome that I help my clients with. And I would build out what I call a product pyramid ecosystem. This is how I've grown my offer suite in the past, and this is what I would do if I did it all again. So the first level is starting with one-to-one clients. And as I said before, I would only move to the second level once I'd really mastered getting my clients results and one-to-one client creation. And I was just confident that I could consistently create one-to-one clients kind of on demand. Once I knew those clients deeply and I could start seeing the patterns, I would turn the things that I consistently teach in my one-to-one coaching sessions into online training, which frees me in my coaching sessions to solely focus on clearing blocks, embodiment exercises, and steering and signposting people to online content. But what's more is I would actually then pool my one-to-one clients together into a community. Now the benefit of that is that community already has momentum because it has one-to-one clients in there already. But the benefit of this is that I now have one offer. This is really still the same dream outcome, the same process, but I've got 2 tiers. The first tier is one-to-one, which includes the online training and the community. The second tier is the online training and community as a standalone offer. The beauty of this is I create things once, I sell them multiple times. Now the final stage of this is what I call one-time offers, where I take things that I'm already running inside of my community, things like masterclasses, in-person intensives, retreats, sprints, challenges, and I sell them as a one-time offer. The beauty of this, again, is that I build things once, I sell them multiple times. And then this becomes almost like a Trojan horse into my bigger world, because we want to optimize our customer journey for getting customers as quickly as possible rather than just leads. Research tells us that a customer, someone who spent an amount of money with us, is twice as likely to convert again and will spend 50% more than a lead. So we want to optimize our customer journey for getting customers, not just leads. But if you just start here, you'll end up with multiple confusing offers. Whereas when you build it from the base up, you master one-to-one coaching, then you build your community, and then your one-time offers, there's alignment and there's momentum. And there's also leverage because you don't have to build things multiple times. You're literally already running this stuff for your community or for your one-to-one clients, and you sell them as standalone offers, which act then as a Trojan horse to those core offers. Now, once I had this set up, I'd really focus on stacking recurring revenue versus big upfront payments. When you start stacking recurring revenue, you'll start to see the stress that's lifted when you have money, predictable money coming in every single month. The first time I saw the benefit of this was when I launched my community, The Modern Man, when I was coaching men. Initially I charged only 50 quid a month. Eventually it was 250 quid a month. But just seeing initially like £1,000 coming in a month predictably, and then 2,000, then 3,000, just relieved me from that needy energy, from the need to get clients, because my immediate needs like rent, like software, all of those things were met by my predictable revenue, the monthly recurring revenue. So I'd really make this a focus to start stacking recurring revenue. Now, yes, the odd pay in full is a really nice bonus, but my goal now is to just stack recurring revenue so I cover all bases, and every month I'm not starting from zero again. And what this leads to is real magnetism, because as I say in all of my content, a relaxed coach is a magnetic coach, and recurring revenue leads to being relaxed. So concurrently to this, I'd be working on one of the biggest long-term projects, which is building out an authority flywheel, which replaces the need for any cumbersome website. I still don't have a website and don't plan to have any website soon. I really see a website as just something to slow me down. An authority flywheel allows you to be agile and move with how fast things are changing in the world currently. And the authority flywheel is made up of 5 cogs that naturally follows your client or customer journey. The first step in any customer journey is someone becoming a follower or a connection. We want to turn these followers into leads, which we do with a mini magnet and DM automation. Once we have leads, as I shared before, we want to really optimize for creating customers, because those customers are far more likely to convert into our core offer and spend more money than leads. And the way we do that is with low ticket offers, or my preference is a conversion event, which are things we are essentially running already for our community. They're one-time offers. Now, once we have created a customer, we want to turn those customers into clients. And the way we do that is by running client campaigns, which are a period of time when we're actively promoting our core offer. When we're not in a client campaign, we're simply building up our waitlist. Now, our ultimate goal is to turn these clients into raving fans. The more raving fans you have, the faster your business will grow, because our raving fans attract more followers and more leads, and around the system goes. And how we grow more followers is one thing I forgot to mention, is with a growth engine, which is a hybrid of organic content and automations or paid ads. Now, at the center of all of this is your content and email ecosystem. This kind of drives the whole system. So the authority flywheel really consists of these key assets: your growth engine, which increases your number of followers and connections, a mini magnet and DM automations, which turns your followers into leads, a low ticket offer or conversion events, which turns those leads into customers, strategically run client campaigns, and then a sacred tribe, which turns clients into raving fans, and strategically run case studies, which turns raving fans into more followers and leads. And at the heart of this is your content and email ecosystem. So once you have your authority flywheel set up, what I would then do is just start running content campaigns to the various different assets. So what that would look like, instead of relying on inspiration and just posting when I feel good, I would follow a content strategy that might look something like this, where for week 1, I point my content to a mini magnet with the automations set up. Week 2 might be another mini magnet. Week 3 might be a conversion event. And in week 4, we run a client campaign where we actively promote our core offer, either via a sales doc or via a call. Now, the beauty of all of this is that in the 2 to 3 weeks prior to a client campaign, we're building demand. And because we are only open for 1 week, we decrease supply. And as I said before, supply-demand tension is one of the biggest drivers of influence. So we do this in a really effortless way. But what's more is that this acknowledges our own natural cycles and rhythms of operating. So for these 3 weeks, we're more in a feminine energy, more of a receiving, more of a farming energy, where we're building the assets, building the farm. And in this 1 week, we're more of in a masculine energy, more in an outbound, more in a hunting energy. So honors both the masculine and the feminine, the out and the in. So hopefully you can see, once you've built the authority flywheel and all the systems and automations, business and life looks really simple. You have an offer to focus on each week. The systems take care of everything else. And for 1 week, a month, or every 2 months, you're in that masculine outbound energy. So this is a really great way to balance energies and, build a sustainable business. Because one of the most underrated strategies in business is sustainability, staying in the game. And the final way we do that is, instead of doing everything ourselves, we automate with AI and we delegate to a VA who's fueled with SOPs. And then this is when business gets really fun, because all of the hard work is done by our systems, our automations, and our VA. And we're freed to focus on the things that we're great at and that we enjoy. For me, that's creating content and that's coaching. That's really it. It's that simple. And that's what my week looks like currently. I create content, my systems and my VA take care of everything else. And then when I'm not creating content, I'm coaching. It's that simple. Now, of course, there's an amount of work that needs to go into building the authority flywheel, that needs to go into thinking through the offer messaging map. But once you have this set up, it's just a case of realignment, assessing, and keep on fueling it with your content and staying consistent, which is what I help my clients do. So if you are interested in building out this whole system, and actually we can build the automations, the tech backend for you, and have me mentor you in this whole process, because yes, whilst this is linear, there's a lot of challenges and new ways that we can go. And of course, you're different to everyone else. So we also need to build a business that works for you and who you are. So if you are interested in getting a mentorship from me and have my team build out the systems and backend for you, message me 121 on Instagram. My link is below. And if it feels aligned, we can have a chat. If it's not, that's also cool. And if you're not ready for that, there's a ton of content around my page, and I'll continue to be providing a ton of value. So go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe. I am driven by unlocking heart-led coaches because my skill set is in systems, is in business and coaching. And I enjoy that stuff, the systems in the business, whereas most coaches don't. So they want to be unlocked to focus on the coaching. And that's where I see my greatest impact in the world, is fueling you with the systems that allow you to focus on your zone of genius, and your systems that we build for you take care of everything else. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I'm sending you so much love, and have a beautiful rest of your day.